Debt Free TV, in association with getoutofdebtfree.org.
These people all the way through this in the last year and a half, and as I say, the Operation Daybreak and Azeris will not meet with the CSA Action Group. If they would meet with us so we could have that, we wouldn't have to come to these meetings.
You're asking the wrong people. I have no authority.
I know you don't, I know, but that's the message we want to try and give.
You've got to have
it's the frustration.
Yeah, and I can understand that people's emotions and tempers and things fray.
That's right.
I can understand that. But if you're constructive and come forward with what your agenda is, then if the agenda is set out correctly, like the chairman said, those questions have got to be answered.
Well, the problem,
But there's no need, I can understand, and frustration is one of the biggest things that happens with me, right? Because you want answers. If the answers don't come, then people get more and more irate. You've got to do it on a structured basis.
Sir, I haven't been disruptive.
As a public person, have done everything. The way, unfortunately, I can understand your frustration, but the way the other two gentlemen went, and when you start swearing, you've lost it.
Yeah,
you've lost
absolutely.
the actual argument, I'm sorry to say.
I agree with you.
I'm a coal miner from Harlow.
I agree with you, but I've been working with victims of sexual abuse for 30 years, sir.
All these things
And they've been ignored.
As regards now, that's come out from the horrible areas that it's all been happening.
Which I've been listening to for 30 years.
This is what people want the answers to. Just like they did up in Rotherham. I'm from on board with South Yorkshire. Right? And if the questions are asked in a constructive manner, then the answers should come.
Would it that were true, sir? Would it that were true?
We would love that opportunity to put ourselves over in a constructive manner. The problem we have is they refuse to meet with us. The question we asked Paddy Tippin was, would you make a meeting for us to meet Chris Hay and his team? Chris Hay's reply was, I have a whole force they can meet with. Well, if you have a whole force you can meet with, let's arrange that meeting and let's get round the table, because until that time, we can't draw a line in the sand and move forward until we address the frustration that we've got today. And then we can move forward and start trying to make more constructive...
There are processes you can use.
We've tried those protests and we've been shut down.
Just arriving here and disrupting this meeting is not the way forward.
I didn't do that.
Madam,
nor did I.
That was peaceful.
I know you didn't, madam, but
Nor did I.
who were with you up there were disruptive.
Madam, with all due respect, right, I'd like you just to listen just one moment.
No,
We have tried consistently, right, to get beyond the gatekeepers.
I'm not going to listen to you, and you.
But that is what we've come to expect from the councils and the police.
Well, I'm not a council.
We have to go through the gatekeepers.
Just a moment. May I speak?
Yes, of course.
You've had some very, very helpful, constructive advice given to you by our councillor representative here from Bassett Law. I don't have any information, don't have any details with the cases that you're talking about. Our role here is purely a scrutiny committee to hold the Commissioner to account over certain items. Now, if you want to remain here and remain quiet in this meeting, you're welcome to do so. If I bring the members of the council back in and you want to start disrupting again, then we will ask the security staff to ask you to leave the building.
You can only ask.
Have I made it very clear?
Yes.
Okay.
The paedophile protector.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your forbearance. We have had a very quick conversation with the ladies and gentlemen in the public gallery. Some helpful advice given by our council colleague from Bassett Law. And I've explained to the ladies and gentlemen in the gallery that if they disrupt again, then we will respectfully invite our security staff to remove them from the premises. That I've tried to explain to them that the brief of this committee is to hold the Commissioner to account for things that are already in the papers. I don't have any detailed information about the things that they wish to raise, but there's been some constructive advice as to how to put their structure of a complaint together and use appropriate processes. So I hope that we can keep to
You
the
did offer a
bar-
meeting as well later.
And we did say we'd perhaps ask how a meeting could be arranged later, after the meeting, that might help progress things. But that's outside my remit, and perhaps others can help with that. If that's okay, can we proceed? And you've just at that point, we're inviting your deputy. Welcome, Chris. And if I can just say, Commissioner, that once you've finished your debate, I know there are a number of questions that colleagues in the room want to ask about specific items in the report. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I talked a bit about the Victims Code the last time we were here together, and we're using this as a sort of case study today of how we hold the chief to account. So the Victims Code, as you probably are all aware, came into being about 2 years ago. It's put down in legislation the rights of victims during the process of going through the criminal justice system. I chair the local Criminal Justice Board Victims Witnesses Group, and one of the things that we were keen to do was to look to see that all parties were adhering to the Victims Code. So we spent a lot of time last year getting all the partners together. That included the police, the CPS, solicitors, and we looked to see how we thought we were dealing with the Victims Code. What resulted in that was a change in some actions for some partners, and then this year what we did was we've gone in and we've dip tested a number of cases. We dip tested a relatively small number of cases, and we were given cases that were at that time just about to complete going through the criminal justice system.
It's not been said directly, being said that and send reports to us as being events, or we suddenly see something tweeted about them for somebody else. Those will come about communication offences and harassment offences. We have to ask ourselves in relation to the risks around those, do we invest our police officers to be able to detect it? It's not do we know who sent it, because that's very obvious in communications. But we have to ask the question, is this something that we invest, police officers going around to see an individual, to investigate, to satisfy the national standard of detecting crime? Or is this something that we know to provide advice in relation to, and then focus the scarce resources we've got on areas where we can recognize high risk? So when the question, you raise your question about, are these detected? Yes, they are. We have to make a judgment in terms of thousands of these communications that are taking place. Those which represent a risk level that merits investment, a significant investment in investigation of criminal justice, as opposed to other offences that are reported to us. There are mistakes that can be made in terms of reporting practice, but they're very rare now, because we have a number of people who go over the recording every single time that we have reported to us to make sure that we classify and report them correctly and they can't be misinterpreted. To make sure we get it as right as possible. Very low error rates in terms of those. We have one of the highest compliance rates in the country for national crime reporting standards, which are those that are set by government to make how we should report cases.
But Debbie, this is a real pressing issue that demands national debate about how we go forward on it. It's not an easy matter. It's an area of policing that's growing substantially. I think it's more a societal issue around what's acceptable to say by way of tweet and by way of Facebook. And I think we need to have fairly extensive national debate around what we as a community find acceptable. It astonishes me the things that people say in the new media that they would never say face to face.
Thank you. Have you got any questions?
What I'm going to ask you now is, and it all comes down to what Councillor Mason said about social media. The social media nowadays is a very powerful tool, whether it's Facebook, Twitter or whatever's out there. I'm not on it, I don't like it. I think a lot of things can be said and can't be retracted as soon as that button's pressed. And that is, wouldn't it be better today for it to be Paddy Tippin, Police Crime Commissioner, and Chris Ayres, Chief Constable, met us and listened and talked in a constructive manner? No, Paddy, just let me have a say. You can say whatever after, please. and that is that if it's done in a constructive manner through their person who is an independent person who's their voice piece, it's done through them, not people getting irate, not accusations flying around, as long as it's done in a constructive manner. Because I'm almost sure, about a year ago, at the police crime panel meeting, one thing got fetched up about, I can't remember if it was a place in Nottingham, is it the Birches, the Beeches, whatever?
Beechwood.
Beechwood, that was a hot topic at that time. Suddenly, it's died off. Yet if somebody comes, right, I know you do your reports, and sometimes your report might be as thick as War and Peace, but it's got to be said, if somebody's got something to say, come on, let's be fair, let's give people a time, as long as it's done in a constructive manner, because you've come out with the quote, Paddy, that you're prepared to listen, so please do.
Me be fair,
Yeah.
and let you be fair as well.
Paddy, I stayed in here, that's how fair I was.
All right.
I didn't walk out, I stayed here.
Right.
In fairness, I asked everyone to leave. So it wasn't a question of who chose to stay. In fairness, I asked everyone to leave.
Of meeting survivors in Nottinghamshire. I have met survivors in Nottinghamshire more than anybody else in public office. And I hope you'll just reconsider the points you make. They're not fair, they're not justified, they're wrong.
Prove it to me.
I will send you a list of diary names of the meeting. And what's more, I'll send you the transcript
I
of
don't
the
want the
meeting.
transcripts, Paddy. All I want is if people come and they want a fair hearing, don't walk away, don't turn your back on them.
I never have done, and I've had a series of meetings with some of the people who listen to our discussions. I'm really sorry that you've made this point. I hope you will reflect on it, and when I write to you, and I'm going to write to you, setting out the dates, I hope you'll have the decency, because you're a decent man. The comments you made were decent. Unfortunately, they're just wrong.
Okay, I apologise.
Everything you said, mate, was justified. Everything you said, mate, was justified. They're lying.
Just remain quiet, remain seated. I think I'm going to continue in a moment with the agenda that I have here before me. I think it was an attempt on both parties to hear, just for a moment, things that I might have said at the end of the meeting. But please remain quiet, because I still have quite a bit of the agenda to get through. But I think there's been an open exchange of views there in a polite and constructive way. We've heard a comment and we've heard a response. So I'm now going to continue with the meeting and get back to where we were. I think we got to the end of questions on...
Debt Free TV, in association with GetOutOfDebtFree.org.